It's a rainy November evening, and maybe for the first few days, it actually feels like fall and winter is here in eastern North Carolina. And I appreciate y'all being in the house tonight. It's a good night not to be outside, I guess, so thanks for joining us. We're going to be talking about cash flow and how important it is for small businesses, whether you've been in business a long time or just getting started. Bottom line, more small businesses fail every year than are started. And that means that there's something common out there, and that is that most of us that are in small business, myself included for a number of years, we are lots of times working really hard just to survive week to week and month to month. After 64 years in business, I know that's true because I've had my times in that boat. But you know what? If you've got positive cash flow, that's going to equal survival. And sometimes just a few little things that you can do and monitor real close to help you maintain that positive cash flow will make a big difference. And I want to help you focus on that tonight as we go forward and looking at 15 specific ways to really help you with cash flow. My name is Steve Carver. This is my presentation number 1149, and I want to welcome you on my journey through entrepreneurship, and we're still on it because I do business every day, and I'm glad to be a part of your journey. Tell you right up front, I'm not a lawyer or a CPA. I'm just a fellow that's been in business for a long time, and glad to share you some of the things that went well, some of the things that went wrong, and try to do my best to help you avoid some pitfalls and surprises, and give you some good tips to make life easier as an entrepreneur owner. We've got a good crowd joining us tonight. I'd like to welcome all of you coming in. We're just getting started. If you did sign in earlier through the Small Business Center, hopefully they sent you study guides for tonight. But if they didn't, when you sign in, log in on chat and give me your email address and your town. And tomorrow, after I get my YouTube video completed, recording for tonight, I'll send you a link to the video as well as the study guides so that you can use them any way that'll help you. And you can go back and look at that video one frame at a time and take screenshots. And if that'll help you make notes or use it in your business, I invite you to do that. So the study guides that were sent out include an outline, number 1149 of our program tonight, the talking points. And if you're ever joining my webinars, and you can have time to print out the talking points study guide that is emailed to you, that's a good way to make notes, because a lot of them will be in order for you and you can make your notes out to the side. But we've got a study guide for tonight. We use certain vocabulary words each week, so we'll be talking about those. This week it's the A words. And also, if you want to really plug into our 5-part course and start applying it to your business and with some homework challenges, and you can qualify yourself to earn some certificates, and we're happy to do that. And also there's a study guide on writing your mission, vision, and promise statements to help you get that done. This is a 5-part course on Thursday nights. This is part 2. And then we'll have we'll skip some time for Thanksgiving. So on Thursday, December the 5th, the 12th, and the 19th, we'll wind out this course. So I hope you'll save those dates and join us and continue. And if you do attend all of the webinars, you will be able to earn certificates. Since you're coming in at number 2, that may mean you've already missed number 1. And if you'd like to commit to trying to see the rest of them, just say right over in the chat board that you'd like for me to send you the video and the study guides for our first presentation. And I will do that, and I'll give you a credit for it, so that if you attend the rest of the classes, you can earn your certificates by attending all 5 of them through the use of the video. So I look forward to hearing from you if that's the case. Keeping up with attendance. These were our attendees last week. So I'll keep up with attendance, and we certainly are glad to have you joining us every time. 15 ways to improve cash flow. Cash flow, again, is all about taking some stress out of your business operation and being able to do more because you have more options. This course is about putting forth the right mindset to promote growth, because you do have the options. You've got a lot of options, and you look yourself in the mirror and talk to your own face and say, you know, I can back up or back off. I can just turn loose. Or hopefully you can also say, I'm going to keep pushing forward, be grateful and thankful, and I'll hold on tight, and mainly hold on to your values, and find a trusted soul friend or a good advisor, and by golly, plan for your own empowerment. Good to see you there. How are you doing? Thank you for joining in, Chandra. And where are you located, Chandra?
Burlington, North Carolina.
Well, we're glad to have you, and thanks for turning your video on. It's good to talk to another human being instead of just a screen, so I appreciate that. Thanks. Makes it a lot easier to lead a class, no doubt. Homework challenges, if you want to get into it, create your own video introduction, create your mission, vision, and promise statements, which are very important, and you have a study guide to help you. Share photos of yourself and your business so I can help promote you and your business. Create Facebook personal and business pages. Look at the handout study guides for the 40 street smart drill skills. Write sentences using the A words, and you'll be qualifying for your certificates. 2 certificates are going to require you actually do some creative work, and that is creating an outline for purchasing a home at $180,000 or an automobile for $21,000. When you attend the classes on negotiating and forecasting, I'll show you how to do it, and we'll have examples. And then we'll also have you to do a study structured advertising pricing plan for presentation number 4, where we talk about pricing and actually draw out a plan that you're going to create a advertised selling price for an item that costs you $5,000. And I'll tell you, I want you to make at least $900 on it with your margin. And the fair market value of it is $7,000, so you should be able to do that and leave yourself $1,050 negotiating room. And just send me a sample of how all that'll lay out. During our presentation in a couple of weeks, I'll show you exactly how to do that. My goal tonight in this series is to help you find a positive mindset that will best activate your radar, your mental radar about how to run your business. Always in our courses, we'll focus on a few vocabulary words just for the excitement of using new words. In week 1, we talked about the word attitude last week. And we said that attitude is kind of like a flat tire. If you've got a flat tire, you can't go anywhere, right? You got to change it. And if you've got an attitude that's not right for small business, you're not going to go anywhere either. So we have to change that. So attitude is at the first of our list. But tonight, we're going to remind ourselves that atmosphere is an important A word. Because if we got the right mindset to do business, we're going to create an atmosphere that's conducive to professionalism, good communications, and respect for all parties. An atmosphere that promotes business, an atmosphere that promotes creature comforts. It's not all about doing business. It's not all about the numbers. It's the way people feel. And the hospitality aspects of the way we run our business, the atmosphere that's full of hospitality goes a long, long way. And sometimes we just have to pay attention to the personal issues. The other word I want to talk about tonight is achievement. Do you have a mindset that's promoting your achievement? And that word means setting a course and creating plans to get something done and to be accountable to yourself. Having the right tasks, the sales, the appointments, such as that. And achievement is holding ourselves accountable and recording our progress as we go. That goes a long way with getting to that mindset for a successful entrepreneur trip. Okay, get your fingers all warmed up here. We're going to do some typing in over on chat. and I'll ask you some questions and ask you to type in the answers. I do this because I've learned through the years, just for my personal benefit and teaching, that if we can type something in or write it down, it helps also. It's kind of like we're typing it on our mind, so helping us remember. So my first challenge is to you, is it really important in your business to have profit centers? And profit centers are ways to make money. But is it really important to have diversified profit centers? Would you say yes or no? Let's see some typing in over here. How many of you are going to join me over on the chat board? Okay, we got a lot of yeses coming in. It is important to have diversified things that you're selling, because if you've got diversified products, that means you don't have diversity in your customer groups, and that means multiplication, more business, the more diversification you have. Now, as we're diversifying our different profit centers, marketable profit centers, it's important to have a good mix of those centers. And those of you that have been in my webinars before know that I promote this almost every week. And as we need a mix of things that people W blank and things that people N blank, what would those two words be? Anybody remember? David says it's want and need. Is David right? How about y'all typing in that we need things that people want and things that people need? And yes, David, you're 100% right, because that's the two kind of things that people buy, things they want and need. And if we've got a diversified mix of both, that means we're going to start seeing a lot more business if we've diversified our profit centers with things that people want and they need. Customers that go out in the world and sing your praises to their friends, they are the RFCs. Customers that go out and brag on you and ask other people to do business with you, they are your RFCs. What do the letters RFC stand for? And while you're thinking about that and typing in, what are RFCs? They are those customers that will help keep you in business year after year when times are bad and times are good. Who remembers what RFC stands for? Let's type that in there. Anybody remember? Not too quick on the answers. Let's see. So David said raving fan client. That's close, but I wanted to say raving fan customer. How about y'all typing that in? Raving fan customer. And we'll use that in the rest of our programs in the course. Raving fan customer. The RFCs, we want them, we need them, we gotta have them. And in our regular courses, I teach you how to create raving fan customers. So let's make sure you get that down. Thank you all for typing that in. Upsells are the easiest way for us to stack profits in our business. It's the fastest way for you to make more money than you ever dreamed of by knowing how to create upsells. And the passwords that open the doors to upsells. The easiest thing that you can do to create more cash flow are saying 3 words to your customers. What are those 3 words? The B and the T and the W. David's got it typed in there. Anybody else see that? He's right. Y'all type it in too. If you're going to get a tattoo this weekend, this is the 3 words I want you to get tattooed right on your forehead here if you're into tattoos. And those 3 words, yes, thank you all for typing those in. By the way, yes, you've got a diversified product mix, so when a customer buys one thing, you can say to them, and by the way, we've also got this. And by the way, we've also got this. It lets you take that original sale and start multiplying it. And customers really appreciate you doing that. So, and I'll teach and have taught for many, many years, having a diversified product mix and knowing how to use the by the way to connect the dots and encourage customers to improve their sales and complete their sales, help you have upsells, can almost guarantee you more cash flow and definitely more positive cash flow. Thank you all for participating in that. Now, later on in the series, and I'll give you, we're going to look at the forests first, and then kind of at the end of our program tonight, we're going to all together talk and chat about and make recommendations on how we would manage certain types of cash flow situations. So the first situation we're going to consider is your sales and expenses are holding steady. Your turns and deposits this week, you're going to estimate you're going to do $9,000 this week. And at 7%, you're going to owe $630 in sales tax. So that's our situation. So, but the other thing is, we have in the bank right now, in our regular business checking account, $6,000. But we got bills that have to be paid totaling $17,670. Now that is a cash flow situation. Wouldn't you all agree on that? Say, yeah, it's a cash flow situation. You got $6,000 in the bank, but you owe $17,600. But we got some things to consider. Well, first of all, we're going to remember that we got $9,000 that's supposed to be coming in. But we also got to remember there's $630 of that as sales tax that we certainly can't spend. And these are our bills we all got to pay. We got rent, utilities, our regular type of bills. But this month, by golly, you had an AC and a roof repair that had to be done, and one of your vehicles broke down. $900. There was $2,100 worth of bills that you never see hardly ever. Got your payroll to pay, withholding taxes. But here's something else that happened this month. You're getting ready for the holidays, so you've ordered in. You got a $5,000 stock order that just came in, and you got another one coming in by the end of the week for another $5,000. So that's how we ended up with that $17,000 big amount of money we got to send out, but don't have a $6,000 in the bank. So what in the world are we going to do? We got to look at our resources, right? We got a reserve checking account that's got $10K in it. We got a credit line. We got funds available in a business credit line. We got some old stock inventory that's worth $20,000 that could be liquidated for $5,000. We got an old used vehicle out back. It still runs, and I kind of got it as a spare. Nice to have that spare, but I really don't have to have it. I could probably quick sell it for $9,000. I got some personal money. I got $20K in the bank. I got a personal credit card I could use with a $10,000 line. I got an insurance policy that I could cash in and take cash value, borrow $5,000 on it. And my old Aunt Mabel, she's a sweetheart. She's always told me she had $20,000 she'd loan me if I ever got in a bind. So we got some options, and what I want y'all to think about is how would you handle this situation? And we'll talk about it later in the program after we consider how important options are to do. Now we got another situation which is altogether different, but it's still a cash flow challenge. Sales are improving and holding steady. And this week we are expecting to do $13,500 worth of business, which means $630 of that sales tax will have to go out. Look what happened. We got $28,750 in the bank. $28,750, but we don't have to pay out but $11,838. How about that? So this is a cash flow problem where we've got incoming for cash flow that is a whole lot more than we have to send out. That's a good problem to have. So here are our bills we got to pay. They go down the line, car payments. But in here, we mentioned that we've got a $12,000 vehicle loan payment there. We're only paying $310 a month and some interest on it, and other things that we've got to pay. And we also, when we got started in business, we borrowed some money. We borrowed around $17,000, and there's still $14,000 owing on it. It's costing us $500 a month and $75 interest. And we got another stock order coming in. So the total going out that we have to pay is $11,838. So my question to you is going to be, how are we going to pay those bills? Because we got the resources here listed all down, lots of resources, but I noticed that our reserve account is down to $5,500. I've got $28,700 in the bank. old stock order inventory. Well, it looks like we liquidated that old stock order on this deal and liquidated that old vehicle. That's probably how we ended up getting that $28,750 in the bank. So we don't have resources to consider. So at the end of the class tonight, we'll chat about these two challenges and how you would go about it. Now let's just kind of rewind and start unpacking this thing. How do cash flow problems usually start? What makes them start? These are absolute truths that I've dealt with over a 64-year period, and you know things are kind of tough when the business isn't paying attention to how much money you're bringing in each month. We have to stay in focus. We have to keep our mindset alive, and if you're not aggressively working to get accounts paid up on time, you'll find yourself with a cash flow problem, and it can sneak up on you real quick. So you just have to really pay close attention. And what are the effects on a small business? Cash flow shortages result in late payments to suppliers, and that ends up costing us a strained relationship with those people that we really need to do a lot of business with, so we don't want to go there. Cash flow problems end up with us missing debt payments, and that doesn't help us for future borrowing power and puts us in a jam with our creditors, and it will decrease your credit rating, which may hurt you for a long, long time in big ways when you really need to borrow some money. Maybe you're not able to cover your current business expenses and have to start putting things off. That causes a lot of nervousness and problems in any business, and it's going to let you miss opportunities to take advantage of growth through investments. If you're running behind and can't pay your bills, there's no way that you can make investments for the future. Maybe you don't have enough money to really fund your marketing strategies, to do your advertising, which means you're going to lose your competitive advantages, and that leads to more cash flow problems. So everything we're talking about here is serious stuff, and when you add it all up, you may even have to start going back and paying your business bills with your personal funds, and that makes everything become more critical. Is it going to happen? Probably. I don't know of anyone who started a business like most of us do. We were kind of underfunded and operating on the shoestring, that we don't have to dip into our personal funds and personal credit sometimes. So I'm just telling you, there's a good chance that will happen. Don't be surprised, but cash flow problems come, and it's going to be hard to avoid them. So it's an option, but it's not a good thing. You want to avoid it as long as you can. And if you ever get to the point that you have to start not paying your employees, and you have unpaid wages out there and unpaid deductions, you're in trouble then, because morale is going through the bottom, and if something doesn't happen immediately, you're going to have certainly reduced customer satisfaction and service and products that you have, and it's just a short period of time before a business has to close up. So cash flow is an important issue. That's why in this 5-part series to lessen stress, I spend a lot of time on it to try to help you see different ways you can avoid those things. Which type of company is most likely to have cash flow problems? Which type of business, maybe your business, maybe my business, is most likely to have cash flow problems? Well, it's those businesses that operate on real thin margins. New startup restaurants or seasonal businesses are the most prone to have cash flow problems. Especially restaurant and food service businesses, really competitive, have a big time trying to keep the cash flow on top because you operate on a thin margin. My business, I have an internet sales business where I sell farm equipment on the internet, and competition worldwide and nationwide keeps me operating at a real thin margin, and I have to stay really on top of that to make sure that my cash is coming in and I'm getting my bills paid to do that. Sometimes cash flow problems will happen and you can't do anything about it. They just happen. So let's unpack that. There's things that can happen that are outside of your control and my control, like local economic conditions, global factors sometimes, inflation, recessions, natural disasters and pandemics. Our friends in the mountains of North Carolina, good gosh almighty, what a cash flow issue they're having right now with businesses being wiped out. So the business owners are having to deal with no cash coming in and still bills coming in. All their employees that can't go back to work are having to deal with that. So it's not their fault. They were doing everything right, but sometimes this stuff happens. So that's why it's so important to have some reserves if you possibly can. And so cash flow problems that you can control are those related to poor management and incomplete accounting, having too much debt, and maybe growing too fast. A lot of folks are really surprised when I say that in my classes. Really fast growth can cause huge cash flow issues, and so you have to be aware of that and plan for it, and it gets into your forecasting. One of the drill skills that I mentioned that you'll see in the handouts and study guides is number 11. It says, do not pay off your long-term debts with short-term cash flow. And if you do, you'll go broke real quick. So later on in our discussions, when you had this surplus of cash one month, I want you to remember this slide. Do not pay off long-term debts with short-term cash flow. When you set up your debts, if you got a debt and you're making a monthly payment on something that's paying for itself every month, and you're making the payments on time, keep on doing it. And unless you have a real super bonus month and abundance of cash, you just let that debt stay in where it is and put that extra money over in your reserve accounts, because there will be some unexpected bills coming along, no matter how good you plan. Cash flow is a good thing, and we want to remember that. It's a bright day when you do that. So, number one, what do we want to remember about 15 ways to improve cash flow? And we talked about those RFCs. Reach out to your raving fan customers. If you see yourself in a cash flow crunch, the first people to turn to are those customers that you have that are regular customers and do business with you, and you stay in touch with them through a database. You reach out to them and let them know what you've got for sale, the normal things that they're buying from you. Let them know that you need some business now, and if they don't need something to buy, please tell you who you can send information to or give a call to, or they can forward their email to them that you just sent to them. Your raving fan customers want you to stay in business. And if they know someone that's ready to buy something you're selling, they ask for them. Or if maybe they're getting close to buying something, it'll bring them out of the woods. I reached out today, for example. I sent out 25 emails to customers that I had quoted different pieces of equipment to during the last 2 months. 25 of them that had not responded or purchased the equipment. And I sent them out a little note, letting them know I appreciated it, making sure they got their quotation. And then I put in a little sentence. I said, why don't you come on, let's do that deal you're interested in before the holidays in January, when tariffs are probably going to be put on the things that you're thinking about buying. President Trump has said that as soon as he goes into office, he's going to put tariffs on everything that is imported, and the things that these customers were buying is imported, and the price will go up 10 to 15%. So I'm using that as a promotion to get people to buy now. So I expect, and I'll report to you in a few weeks what kind of response I got from those 25 customers and see if it worked or not. So we'll see. Number 2, let's refer to old money. If we've got a current cash flow problem, number 2 is to look back and see who owes you money. What are your receivables? What are your past due receivables? And let's collect them. You are not a bank. I am not a bank, and we don't need customers sitting on our money while we're sitting over here with poor cash flow. Find the assertiveness and the attitude to go after the money that you need. Of course, do it with a positive attitude, but you need to collect past due receivable. Don't leave any money out there in the woods, okay? Old money, maybe that customer got in a jam, maybe the hurricane come through and they don't have any cash to pay you with. They're in a bind and you're in a bind. Face it, it's just facts and things happen. So what are your options? Sometimes the option might be you say to that customer, look, I understand that maybe you don't have the cash flow you need, but how about that old boat you hadn't used in years, that old truck or trailer or tools or anything tangible that you might be able to barter, take in as a barter instead of cash payments and settle that account. It's important to settle old accounts because as long as a customer owes you old money and it's not settled, you know what? They're going to do new business with other people. They're not going to be able to come and look at you in the face and want to buy something else that they need. Remember, if you need something, you got to go buy it. But if they're owing you old money, they will probably most likely go somewhere else and buy this thing as bad as you need business. That's the human nature of it. So the fact that a lot of people don't realize, if you've got an old account, you need to square that up, especially if it's with a good customer. Find a way to square that up so they'll feel comfortable to bring new business to you. Old accounts keep you from getting new business. Just keep that in mind. Number 4, figure out a way to cut expenses. If you've got expenses to be cut, go ahead and start chopping on them, money that you don't have to spend. But I want to caution you, one of the worst places you can cut expenses is your advertising and marketing budgets. You need to keep new business coming in and business flow coming in, and that happens through your advertising and marketing plan and your raving fan customers. So in my classes, I teach you how to not gamble and waste money, because let me tell you, in most situations out here in the business world, 95% of marketing and advertising money is wasted. So you might as well throw it in a fire and burn it. But if you're using the right kind of plans for your marketing and advertising, they will be paying for themselves. And if you've got good plans in place, then and you've got a cash flow problems, cutting that marketing and advertising budget is not a good move. So maybe you just got down to you don't have any options, and I understand that. But as long as you've got options, you keep advertising, you keep marketing, and keep business coming in. But you have to monitor and do that type of expense really well. Number 5, on new business now, get paid now. Stop pretending that you're a banker and offering credit or doing things that are tying up your cash flow because you're not getting paid right now. So people have credit cards and they got credit lines and they got cash. And as easy it is for you to establish a credit card account with Square or maybe some other credit card providers, there's just no reason at all that you shouldn't be doing credit card business. Yes, there's an extra fee for it, and you can offer to your customers, like I do, the cash price, or I add 4.5% if they use your credit cards. My credit card fees with different companies and with Square run from 3.5 plus 15 cents up from there with different bank providers. So across the board, I use 4.5%, including American Express and including Discover. When you say to a customer, yeah, I want your credit card business, but keep your Discover card and your American Express card, I don't want to do that, that's negative. So just set the rate for all cards and make it high enough to cover them all. And I think if you use the same providers that I do, particularly Square, you can cover your costs with 4.5%. And the customers appreciate it. You might say this, one customer will say, well, good gracious, you sure are charging me a lot of money to use my credit card, and you turn it right around on and say, oh no, I'm just charging the retail rates that everybody else does, but I'm offering you a cash discount, if you want to pay with cash or check. So instead of fussing at me, you ought to be saying, I appreciate what you're doing, because nobody else is doing that, and there are very few people that do that anymore. So that gives the customer an option to save some money sometimes and makes a difference. Number 6, remember what you heard me say earlier tonight? Follow up. When you make a quotation or a customer expresses interest in something to you and you talk to them about them, follow up. Sometimes you will hear back from maybe 25% of the customers that you send the email quotation to. But just because you didn't hear back from them doesn't mean that they don't want to buy it. Number one, they may not have received your quote because emails get screwed up and lost. You know, you put a decimal in the wrong place or misspelled one word and the email doesn't go through. So if you don't hear back from your customer after you send an email quotation to them, follow up. Give them a phone call. Give them a second email. Ask them if they received it. And if you don't hear from that, then it's time to give them a call and get the correct email address. Or maybe they did get it, but they're just not ready to make a decision. And that little bit of follow-up, that little bit of encouragement or motivation, sometimes it's all it takes to get them to flip over into the buying mode instead of the thinking about it mode. First of all, it shows that you are sincere and you are hungry and you want their business. Now, they may have 10 other quotes there, but if you're the only one that's following up and acting like you care, volunteering to answer questions, then there's a great likelihood that you'll get that business, you will have more cash flow, and things will get better. This is a biggie, my friends. Make it part of your entrepreneurship and salesmanship DNA to know how important it is to follow up with your customers after you send them a quote or a proposition. Remember, follow-up is a big way to improve cash flow. Now, maybe you've got a continuing good sales. You're selling a lot. The invoices are coming in faster than the money is. You got a lot of people that want to buy something, so you've ordered a lot of stuff. You got to pay for all that stuff, but you just don't have the physical cash in the bank to pay the bills as they're coming in. That happens a lot in large seasonal businesses, like a lot of us will have. That is a big important factor. So finding a credit line, having a plan B, having a reserve, a rainy day fund is really important with cash flow problems that are related to not bad management, but bad forecasting. And good forecasting means you've got some credit lines lined up that you can get some short-term money to pay for products as they come in while you're waiting to sell them and get your retail money to pay them back. If you're using credit lines, which a lot of us do, I certainly have to do that from time to time, and you're building your advertised sale price, you got to remember to plug in there that cost of money that you're borrowing in order to make this sale. That credit becomes a cost of doing business, a cost of sales, so you got to remember it. But having credit lines, lots of times, is the difference in staying in business or growing or not. Also, it might mean let's find an investor. I need some solid upfront money to get some things in place and paid for. So I need an investor. Notice here I didn't say find a lender. First, I want you to find an investor if you can. Investor may be a lender, but I don't want you to go out and find a bank to be an investor at this point in time. An individual, a person that might invest in your business. It might be family or friends that might do this. Do it in a business way. Now, finding an investor doesn't mean that you're out here looking for a partner. Finding an investor doesn't mean that you're out here wanting to sell stock in your business. Finding an investor, first of all, means someone to lend you money and you have a promissory note to pay them back on a certain date with a certain amount of interest. What does the investor get for the loan? He gets a payment back plus interest. Now, sometimes finding the investor may lead to you having a partner, or it may lead to you selling some stock. So those are different subjects, but I'm not approaching that right now in just normal cash flow issues. Now, let's just take an internal look to see why our cash flow is suffering. And my gut feeling is, as we started out at the beginning of the class tonight, is maybe the problem is you don't have the right profit centers. Maybe you don't have profit centers that are diversified with things that people want and things that people need. Maybe your profit centers are not connected in such a way that you can say, hey, thank you for buying this, and by the way, I've also got this, and this to promote upsells. Maybe your profit centers aren't producing profit. Maybe your regular bills are higher and more than the current profit centers you have, even when they're doing great, can produce for you to meet your debt challenges. Many times with new businesses, this is exactly what it takes to move you into a positive cash flow and just adding more products. Now, I have about 35 profit centers at carverequipment.com. Carverequipment.com. Let me invite you to visit there. That's my business has been for 64 years, but not on the internet, 30 years on the internet. And right now I'm looking at adding 7 new profit centers for 2025. We always need to be looking at what's new and what's at the front of the wave, something that's going to generate new business, bring in new customers. Did you know that we'll lose 1/3 of our customers every year? You and I both will lose 1/3 of our customers every year. Therefore, we always have to be planning and strategizing ways that we can bring in new customers, and then hopefully keep our old ones as well. So I'll ask you right now, do you have profit centers that are designed to bring in new customers? Do you have profit centers that are designed to increase your daily traffic at your business? Do you have profit centers that are designed to promote repeat business? Do you have profit centers that are designed to create big ticket sales? Those are what you want to have. There's at least those 3 different types, and at least five profit centers working for you to hope to generate enough business to keep the regular business on the way. Now, here's a good plan. And it's a plan that sometimes new entrepreneurs don't get into until several years after they're in business, when maybe we should have started out on day one, and that is promoting a customer loyalty plan. A customer loyalty plan. And you know what it takes to before you can have a customer loyalty plan to start working? That customer has to have a card in their billfold, or a certificate on their desk, or a calendar that reminds them. Customers have to be reminded that they have a customer loyalty plan that creates discounts or better deals or opportunities for them. You might say, Steve, what are you talking about? Well, I'm going to remind you that if you go to Food Line like I do, the first thing I do when I reach in my billfold is to pull out my credit card, and the second thing that comes out with it is my Food Line loyalty card. And that's probably true, and I bet you do that at a lot of places that you shop, from gas stations to pharmacies to food grocery stores and belts and other places. If you got a loyalty card, you're going to get a little discount, and you remember that. And if you're riding down the road and you're trying to decide which place you're going to stop at, it's going to be at the place you've got a discount card for. If you're shopping on the internet, you're going to go to that website that gives you a bonus, a loyalty bonus, like Amazon.com. Yep, you get credit points there, and hopefully Carver Equipment Company as well. What type of loyalty program are you designing and putting together for your customers? It may bring you in several new customers a week, and it may bring in several old customers a week. And when you combine those together, you've got improved cash flow. Week after week after week, times 52 weeks can end up to a chunk, a bucket full of additional money that you've made because you had a loyalty plan. That loyalty plan probably will not cost you more than 5% per sale, or maybe even less. Depends on what you figure out and how you want to do it. But I want to encourage you to have a loyalty plan that can work for you and create customer loyalty and better cash flow. Now let's look at your marketing on the internet. What are the 2 pages that you and I have for our internet marketing that really make a big difference, I mean a huge difference, in whether or not customers end up seeing our pages, seeing our ads, hearing our stories, and really doing business with us? Well, I want to tell you that most of us have to improve our landing pages and our mobile pages. Let's define landing page first. A landing page is a page that you've designed for the internet for a customer to be led to and directed to through your email promotions, so that when they get to that particular page with a search term topic, that they are encouraged to buy now. Give them a good salesmanship spiel with videos and the text and the content that you use on that page that encourages them, let's buy now. Give them a reason, a hook, an incentive to do business with you now. Give them options so that they can look at that page and say, well, I can buy this several different ways. It costs me more or less money. So yeah, I'm basically putting together my plan here instead of you saying to them, take it or leave it. Take it or leave it in old Steve-O's book is not good. And I want your landing pages to promote, you got options here. You got different methods you can pay, different freight options you can use, different models you can choose from, or options or accessories that you can add. Give them the options to hold them there thinking about it. When that customer is focusing on your landing page and trying to figure out what kind of deal they can put together for themselves, right here by looking at your page, guess what? They're not looking at anyone else's page. You've got a captive audience, and you're going to be smart enough to get that order. But you're not going to get that customer to come to your landing page if you've got a weak mobile page. Customers find you and your website and your pages, 85% of them shopping on the telephone, find them on the telephone right here. And your landing page, your mobile page, that is the page that they see when they find your website on the internet, needs to be powerful. It needs to be well designed and have the customer to have the ability to press a button on their phone that creates an email to you, or better still, creates a phone call coming right to you. Because if you can take them out of the market the minute they see you on the internet through a telephone call, then that gives you the huge advantage over all your competition. It really does. So really work on your mobile pages. Put look and hook in them. What is look and hook? That's a marketing scheme that I promote. And that is to say, you need to have a look and hook. A look, have a good, effective presentation that will hold people's attention, and within that presentation have a hook. And the hook is a call to action, the call to action to do business now. So that's number 11. Let's see what we're going to talk about. Future money. That's looking forward. What can we do looking forward now? Number 12. Back to the squares that we started out at the beginning. Go back to your profit centers and have diversity. Have the diversity of what people need now and profit centers of things that people want now. And look at it strictly in that light. Qualify your different things that you're offering. Is this things people need or things people want? And sometimes it is a switch back and forth. But have a diversity there that encourages both. That way, when someone needs something, they'll come to you more often. And they will probably pay you what you're asking, provided your price is reasonable. And usually those kind of items you can't put too much of a margin on. So they're going to shop close. That's your milk and bread and those type of items, your clothing, and some of the things that I sell, a certain kind of parts, fast-moving parts. They know what other people are offering them for. They need them regularly, so they're going to go to the people that give them the best price. And they're going to keep going back to them month after month, year after year, better cash flow for you. Things that people need usually need to be priced lower. You make some money on them, but don't try to knock home runs on them. But then the items that are related to them that maybe they'll buy while they're shopping for something they need, have some items there for things that they may just want, impulse items, make a little more money on those. But you're going to be able to say whichever one they buy. By the way, I've also got this and this and this. You see what I'm saying? The connection of the dots through diversification and upsells will help you stack profits, and stacking profit equal better cash flow. Number 13, think now about the things that you're selling, your profit centers. Take each one of them and give some thought to what group of customers are closest to me, easiest to reach with advertising and marketing or in person, and they can find me easily, that I can make sales to them at the least amount of overhead expense. Those customers are what I call the low-hanging fruit. They're your niche customers. They're those special people that, by golly, they want what you got. They love what you got. You've designed your basket of goodies just for them. They are the low-hanging fruit customers. And list them down. Who are they? Where are they? And then design a marketing program that targets those particular people. We can't be all things to all people, but we have to be everything to some people. And these low-hanging niche market, low-hanging fruit customers, they are the people that we need to be targeting. And when we do that with our advertising and we get them coming in, they are the ones that are going to become your raving fan customers. But it starts with you being brainy enough and savvy enough to write down and identify who these particular groups of customers are, and put your database, get the information and get in touch with them, and start aiming emails at them, promotions to bring them back to your landing pages on those items that you've targeted. And business starts, business is created, and it keeps on rocking and rolling because you've got a good database full of targeted group niche market customers. There's some work involved there, some research, not as much as you may think. And if you continue day after day, keep adding to those customer base lists, it go a long way. That's why I asked y'all tonight to sign in. Make sure I got your email addresses. I'll be able to send you information, and hopefully because I do send you information and try to help you, that means I'll become one of your you'll become one of my raving fan customers, and encourage other people to come to my webinars, because I know I'm not pretty. I'm a good business person and try to give you real tips from the real world that most folks can understand and put right to work in their business. Niche markets. You are my niche market. You're an entrepreneur interested in growing your business, and that's what we do. So you do that for your niche market customer groups. Number 14. How important is number 14? It's up there way high on the list. And maybe a lot of y'all have not been in my webinars before, so maybe you have never heard this term before. So I'm going to tell you that it's right in here with the 15 most important ways to improve cash flow. Utilize DBAs. DBAs, doing business as. Aliases for different company names and products. Doing business as is a terrific marketing tool to bring in lots more customers than you ever dreamed on. The reason is, through the use of DBAs, we'll name our company and we'll name our products and services the different type names that the world calls these products and services we have. whatever it is. Let's say you've got a ball. You're going to sell balls for kids. And those balls might be soccer balls. They might be volleyballs, baseballs, basketballs, tennis balls, golf balls, and on and on and on. But it's just not balls. And if you have a web page that is named Toy Balls for Kids, that's a great name. That's a great name too. But you know what? It will just get a fraction of the visits that if you had a web page that was called Economy Golf Balls for those people that are typing in on their little computer or telephone, economy golf balls. They're just not going to type in balls. They're going to name the specific type of item they want in their search term because that's the landing page they want to end up at. We got to hear that. We got to learn from it and have our landing pages named the same search terms that they're typing in for them to end up on our page instead of the million other competitors out there in the world. That's called SEO, Search Engine Optimization Savvy. And my friend, as your business grows and goes through the years, the more you know about that and the more you utilize it, you're going to see your businesses skyrocket through the use of DBAs. It's just not a little kick. It is a rocket type kick. So pay attention to that. It's not in our series in this particular course. It's helped me mention it tonight. But I've got a real good study guide on DBAs I'll be happy to send to you. Go to your chat board and type it in. Please send me DBA information. And tomorrow I'll review that and I'll do that just straight to you. It's a big deal. And in our main series, our marketing series that started over in January, our 7-part course, we spend a lot more time on DBAs if you know in class, but I can send you good study guide information on it. So when you putting together your marketing plan with DBAs and you build that into your timetables and you build that into your marketing budget, it is really, really important. So let's say that you've got outdoor decorations, outdoor decor. That's one of the things that you're selling. And a good example of that is in DBAs. In the springtime, you might call that Patriotic Holiday Outdoor Decor. That might be the name of your web page. But this time of year, you might say Thanksgiving Outdoor Decor or Christmas Outdoor Decor, New Year's Outdoor Decor. That's the use of DBAs to get people to focus in on your web pages instead of the millions of others out there trying to capture your customers. And when you're good at that, cash flow has got to improve. Cash flow has got to improve. Am I blowing smoke here, something out of a book I read? No. I'm telling you what I experience in my business every day at carverequipment.com. If you want to visit there and see the different ways that I present and market things that have worked for this old boy for a long time, welcome. Copy what I'm doing. I encourage that. Use DBAs. Now, that's for your products. Now, from the management standpoint and your business name, DBAs has a whole different basket of important advantages for you. But right now, I'm talking about cash flow, and so I'm focusing my DBA talk on products and services, how to name them. They will benefit you also on how you name your companies and the different DBAs that you can name your company to help people find you as well. Number 14, now we're headed for number 15. And number 15 is it's the last one I mentioned because it's the one I want you to remember the most. And that is the incredible power, the incredible influence that having YouTube videos used in your marketing and advertising presentations. A few years ago, the Google company purchased the YouTube company. And now, when Google search engines will tell you that if you have a YouTube video on one of your web pages, that web page will go in front of all other web pages in the whole World Wide Web. World Wide Web. It will go in front of all the other web pages in the World Wide Web that do not have YouTube video. Now, if you don't think that's a big deal, then you hadn't been around. And I'm telling you, know it. Know it that it is so important that you would want a YouTube video on every one of your landing pages that you've got out here on the internet, because it gives you such a great advantage. And the rest of the advantage is the YouTube videos, the titles of the videos are also searched in your Google searches. You already see that every time you search for something on Google, on the top page you're going to see the sponsored ads, and then the ads that are at that people have my business at Google, and then you don't have the videos. You don't have those listed at the tops of the pages, and everybody else comes after you. Everybody else comes after you. You might have a terrific website that is SEO perfect and such as that, but you also, but I might have just a simple shorty video that is named the same as your website page, and my video is going to kick right in there with almost zero investment and start bringing cash flow to me, and my video is going to be listed ahead or above your expensive website page that goes on and on and on with information and such as that. The videos are amazingly important. So I'm asking you all to at least do an introductory video for yourself, for your name, and for your business. And I'll send you plenty of examples of what some other students have done in the past, just to give you ideas. Is it hard? No. If you've got a smartphone, you can do it yourself. If you've got a child that's over 8 years old, they can probably do it for you. And you can move immediately into making videos, just like I'm going to do this tonight, and be able to send it to you before 10 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. And I'm not the sharpest pencil in the jar, I know that, but I can sure make a video just by using the platform that we're using tonight. The rest of the story is you can do it just like I do by joining freeconferencecall.com, no charge, and you can make your own videos there and convert them to YouTube, and by golly, you're rocking and rolling. So please take this serious. I am doing my best to make an impression here to help you get in the groove, to start making some money, and using YouTube videos is an important way to do that. Okay? So I mentioned earlier about credit lines, and I want to talk a little bit about that. There's different ways to get credit lines for your business. You can do it through regular bank credit lines, or you can use credit cards, or a combination of the same. But you got to be careful. So sometimes, and I heard on the news today, and that's one reason I put this slide in, America's got more debt today than it's ever had before, and individuals have got more credit card debt than they've ever had before. So all of them can help you, but you got to be careful and understand that some credit lines, like the one I have at Lowe's, shown on the bottom here, Lowe's, the home improvement store, they've got a really good credit policy, but let me tell you, if you don't pay that off the same month, they're going to charge you 31.99% on any charge that's not paid off within 30 days. That's a lot of money. That is a third every month. So yes, I'd like for you to have a credit line with Lowe's, but I don't want you to let that charge carry forward. Amazon, for example, that a lot of people have huge credit lines with, they're going to charge you 29.99%, almost 30% on their charges. And you can imagine how much charges people do at Amazon. I use their charge card probably every other day buying supplies and parts, and it's just so convenient to do that. You can get dog food at Amazon. But when that bill comes in, I send a check. Now, your larger banks that have credit lines and credit cards that you can affiliate with them, like Wells Fargo, which is the one that I use, they don't charge for 13.5%. That's still a lot of money, but it's only a third as much as some others do. So I don't encourage you to have business and personal credit lines. That's what business people do, so that you can take advantage of deals when they come along and forecast your cash flow needs. But gotta be careful. Make sure you read the fine print, and if you don't carry forward some charges for a month or two or 6 months or whatever, make sure you understand how much it's going to cost you. Understand what it's going to cost you. And the convenience of having a large bank credit line like at Wells Fargo or some others, I'm sure, is that not only can you get pretty big chunks of money, depending on your credit line, $50,000, $60,000 type big money, but you can also buy things with a credit card that's related to that same account. Now, American Express, in my opinion, is a super important company. I use them somewhat. They have business credit lines and they have business credit cards, and they have some protections that you can use. But also, they can be really, really picky. If you don't have credit card business for your customers, I do suggest that you just charge a flat fee on all of them, and so that you can indeed take advantage of those customers that want to use their American Express. The reason they want to use it is they're probably getting bonus points for it, for gifts or air miles or for some other reason. But if you're going to use American Express, one of their business credit lines and credit cards, they've got a lot of options, so you shop and choose and make sure you're getting the one that gets you the least rate when indeed you borrow some money or pay a bill with that card, a business bill with it, that it doesn't eat up all your profits as you're selling the products. Other factors that we have to keep in mind when we're considering our cash flow situations is, what is the time of year? Is this like in November and December? If your business year ends on December 31st, and as you're handling your cash flow needs, you want to remember as a new business owner, your end of year financial statement is an important document. And you want to look at that as you're paying your bills or borrowing money on your credit line, how that's going to reflect on the last day of the year, to make your financial statement look good or bad. Most lenders now that are looking at your financial statements are young folks just out of college. They haven't been around a long time, and they know far less about running a business than you do. They got their college degrees in banking, but that doesn't mean they understand how businesses run. If you are in a cash flow crunch on December 31st and your business year ends on December 31st, and that is what the bookkeeper and the CPA is going to take on what is your bank balance on that certain day. And if you've got your bank balance down to $250, that is the number that's going to show up as cash assets on your financial statement, and the balance there. And to a unexperienced a lender, that may be a great big negative, because they say, well, why should I lend them money? By golly, they don't manage it very well. I would suggest to you, if you've got a credit line, indeed, that on December 15th, go ahead and borrow $1,000, $10,000, whatever. Don't max yourself out, but put as much money in your account on the last day of your business year as practical to give you a glowing situation on paper to a lender that's looking at your financial statement saying, wow, they got a good cash flow. Yeah, they got a good cash flow. Now, on down the line, on the liability side, that debt's going to show up just big as plain as day. But the factor is, If you got $10,500 in your checking account, if it's a small business, the lender's going to look at it and say, well, they're managing their cash flow pretty darn good. Then they'll keep looking down and say, well, they're using their credit line to manage the cash flow. That's what credit lines are for. If they got a credit line with us, they do the same thing. But all your bills are paid up. You got everything looks good. The cash on hand at the end of the year is important to you. And sometimes that is exactly when you would exercise your credit lines. You may not have a single bill to pay, but you go ahead and make sure that line on your financial statement is showing that you're in control. You got cash there, you're ready to do business. I don't encourage some people to sell those old trucks and cars they might have, just if they're not making you money in your business. Liquidate them and put that money in the bank and start using it to make money. But then someone reminded me the other Thursday night, you know, Steve, lots of times I found out it's really good to have a spare vehicle. If one breaks down, like you got in that situation, that spare vehicle may save the day for you. So that's always a factor too. There is some value to having spares from time to time, so common sense will tell you to put that in the deal. Depreciation issues may also encourage you to buy or sell certain items, especially old items. Maybe you've got some old items that you've depreciated through the years, or that you're thinking about doing it on your financial statement, and that may have a bearing as to whether or not you liquidate it and get rid of it or not. So depreciation also may say to you, I'm having a great year, I don't have to pay a lot of taxes, maybe I should consider and talk to my CPA about buying a new vehicle or a used vehicle to give me some depreciation to lower my tax exposure. Those are things that we think about at this time of year. Sometimes we might want to buy something and we've got a cash surplus, and you want to get into something in a monthly payment. Maybe that cash surplus could be used to make a down payment to help you lower your monthly payment on something you need to buy. People ask me through the years, you know, should I just wait until I can buy something to fund my business before I get started in business, or go in debt? Well, I have to tell you that the reality of it is people that wait till they have enough cash to pay for something in business, especially large items, usually never get there. And if you've got the way to make the payments and let this thing pay for itself and make money for you, borrowing money to buy something to do that is a good thing. It's making money for your company. But you have to weigh it out carefully, and I suggest you talk to an experienced advisor, the pros and cons of that. But making down payments is the more down payments you make, the lower that monthly payment, or the lesser the number of months you pay. So sometimes it's really good to make a down payment because you're never going to be underwater on this item that you're borrowing money on. And underwater means that you owe more money on it than it's worth. And by financing something too long and not making a down payment puts you in trouble right to begin with. So in cash flow considerations, whether or not we make down payments with our surplus money is an important factor. Okay, let's look at the situations and talk about it. Everybody ready? So get ready. We'll do some chatting here, and it's perfectly all right for you to turn your microphone on when I get to the place where I asked you, how would you handle this situation? So I want you really to pay attention here, as if we're right in the classroom together and we're looking at a chalkboard, and you've turned on your brain now, and you're going to give some serious consideration and pretend that you and I are in this situation thinking about what to do. And my friends, in business, we have to do this all the time as we pay our bills. So here's our situation now. First of all, things are going pretty good. Our sales are steady. We're not afraid. We're confident that our business is going to make it, and we're going on. And our turnovers are good. And we expect this week to make some sales and have deposits around $9,000. And this $9,000, we're expecting it to come in. And when it does, we're going to have to remember that 630 of it needs to be earmarked and pay taxes. Now, here's where I'll say, in cash flow, As cash comes in, we always need to earmark the money that has to be paid in taxes later on. As we're paying payroll bills and salaries, we always have to remember to earmark those withholding funds and put them aside, because it's got to go and it's going to come out of your cash flow. So right now we've got $6,000 in our checking account, okay? But here's the problem. We've got right here on our desk, and I've got a stack of bills here to pay tomorrow. I pay my bills on Friday usually. I've got a stack of bills here to pay. I got $17,000 worth of bills I got to pay tomorrow, but only $6,000 in my checking account. That's a cash flow issue, right? That's something we have to deal with. So let's see where that money's going. We got rent and utilities, $700, insurance, $200, credit card bills, $290. This is just kind of a regular business expense thing that comes up, as we're paying our bills. We got sales and use tax payments to pay. We got $3,000 in payroll, and knowing if we got $3,000 in payroll, we got an additional $300 for withholding, $100 for workman's comp that has to go out. I've got an old stock order that arrived today with a $5,000 bill on it, and a new stock order coming in tomorrow. I might as well plan to pay for it now. In other words, I need to come up with $17,670. But we don't have but what we say, $6,000 in the bank? Yep, $6,000 in a checking account. So let's look over these options that we have, and this is our cash flow considerations. And you'll start to see how some of the things that we've been talking about apply in real life, in real situations. Our business reserve account has $10,000. Business credit lines, there's $15,000 available. Business credit cards, $10,000 available. We got some old stock inventory that's been around a long time that we paid $20,000 for it years ago. But the reality of it is it isn't worth but $5,000 if I cash it out. But it's there. I'm paying insurance on it and in the floor space, but it's not making any money. It's costing me money. I've got a used vehicle that I'm not using every day, and it's worth $9,000 on a quick sale. I've got some personal money, 20 grand in cash account, and then a credit card I can use, or insurance policy I could borrow money on. And my dear Aunt Mabel, she has always said to me, if I ever need to borrow some money, she's got $20,000 that's kind of there. What would you do? What would you do? How would you manage this account? So let's think about that. First thing I'll ask you is, where would you first find that, $11,000 we need to pay the bills? Just go to your chat board and say, first place I'd get money from is so-and-so. Or turn on your mic and we'll talk about it. Rita, do you have your microphone on? Let's see if Sarita's listening. She may not want me to ask me a hard question. Who's willing to take a hard question? David, you got your mic on? Hey, a lot of you are typing in.
I'd probably start with selling the old inventory first.
There you go. That would bring in how much money?
$20K.
No, that's the problem. And you might have paid $20K for it, but when you sell it, you're just going to get $5K for it.
Yeah, okay.
But you still sell it?
I'd start with that.
I would too, David. That'd be the first. I would have done that a year ago probably. So I agree with you that also. Okay. Let's see who's talking to me. Monique. Let's see what you had to say about that. What do you think? Turn your mic on and talk to me. I do appreciate y'all typing in on chat. I'm seeing exactly what you're saying. Chandra said that old inventory, that old vehicle. Let's talk about that selling old vehicle. How many of you raise your hand with your reactions over there? How many of you would sell that old vehicle? get you $9,000 right quick. That'll almost get you out of trouble. Christina says, yeah, I'd sell that old vehicle. I'd get rid of it, turn it into money, and that'd get me out of a jam. That'd be the easiest way to get out of this jam. How about that? Well, we did this a couple of weeks ago, the same class, and a lot of people said, let's sell that old vehicle. And then one lady chimed in, she said, you know, Steve, up here in these bills I'm having to pay because I've got an expensive breakdown to pay. While that car was broke down, that old vehicle might have got me out of the jam. And then I certainly couldn't go out and buy another used one for that kind of money, so I'd hold off on selling that old vehicle. And you know what? That makes common sense, doesn't it? If you had two old vehicles, indeed, we might get rid of one, but I appreciated that comment, and it's absolutely the truth. So what I don't want you to do, what I encourage that we want to do, is to go borrow money. Let's examine, as David said, let's examine that old inventory. Let's examine that old vehicle. Let's look at ways that we can get out of this short-term jam. Because remember, we said that we got $9,000 coming in this week. So if that comes in, we're not going to be in a jam if we're smart, right? We'll let that $9,000 come in and sell that vehicle, that old inventory, and by golly, maybe everything will work out okay. And think about it. But if we do have to borrow money, where would the best place be to borrow the money to get through this jam? What do y'all think? Where would you first go to borrow money from your options? Would it be from Aunt Mabel? Reserve account, personal accounts? Sharika said Aunt Mabel's a good choice. There you go. All right. Well, I understand why you might want to go to Aunt Mabel. And indeed, now she's not going to give it to you. You don't have to borrow it from her. But I don't ask you to reconsider that. Aunt Mabel's going to be there. She's been there for you for 20 years, and hopefully she's not going to be kicking the bucket recently. That $20,000 is your rainy day fund. I mean, that is the disaster fund. You want to help her keep that money because she can also maybe help some other family members, and it's not really a business loan. So I would encourage you to say thank you, Aunt Mabel, and I'm going to use it if I get in a jam. But if we're borrowing this money to keep our business alive and keep our cash flow going in, I want to tell you that maybe the place you ought to go is to your credit line funds available, especially if they're with a bank at very reasonable interest rates. If you do the car sale and the old inventory sale and your $9,000 come in, you won't have to borrow but $2,000 or $3,000 on your credit line. And here's the rest, and that's okay. Here's the rest of the story. With credit lines and credit cards, if you don't use them, you lose them. So I encourage folks to use those credit lines and credit cards several times a year. Now, if you just borrow money to use them, which I recommend, make sure as soon as that bill comes in, you send a check in and pay it right off, and that improves your credit history and your credit score. A fast, immediate payback for a credit card and a credit line improves your credit score big time. You get extra points for paying fast. So remember that. That's something to do. But we've got lots of options. And the last option I want you to do is to increase your long-term debt, take out a new loan somewhere to borrow money. So remember, what I've done here with resources is encouraging you to think about where your resources are. Actually have a list of them so that as you're paying the bills and you're in a negative cash flow situation, you just don't jump at the first impulse that comes at you, but you give it some thought. You turn your brain on and you think it through and pick out the best way to stay on top of your cash flow and get it done. But an option I don't put up here is be late with your payments. If you have any way to make your payments, keep your credit score good and stay on top of paying your bills, you need those vendors to look forward to your orders. If you're a customer that's paying your vendors off on time and what you owe, And those are the vendors that are going to give you the best terms and cash prices and discounts, and take advantage of those discounts. If you're in a position to take cash and discounts, ask for them. They may be giving you 30-day terms, and you get that bill with 30 days to wait for it. Pick up the phone and say, can I get a little extra cash discount if I send a check in early? And you'll be amazed. You'll be amazed at how many people say, yeah, take 5% or take an extra 10%. Send us that check on in, and we'll appreciate it. And even though they're giving you some extra discount, they still appreciate it. And you'll become a very valuable user. If you're doing that and you get in a cash flow bind and you need some extra time, you really don't want to have to go borrow money, but you just need a few more days, 10 days, call those people up and say, can I take another week or two on this bill and still stay in your good graces? And as long as you're calling those people, the answer is going to be yes, because people want that relationship with you just like you want it with your customers. So here's a little real life learning lesson that we had in this situation, okay? All right, a whole different situation here now, situation number 2. All right, how do we stand? Sales are improving. Expenses are holding steady. We don't have any big surprises coming we know of. This coming week, we hope to turn $13,500 worth of business. And a lot of that must have been serviced because our tax is still around $630 to be earmarked. Right now in our checking account, we got $28,750. Hey, man, things are looking better this month, aren't they? Well, they're looking better because you made the right cash flow moves last week, as we were talking about in the previous situation. And we got $28,700 in the bank, and our bills that we need to pay this morning are $11,838. Congratulations, this is a good problem to have. And I will tell you that if you've been in business a long time, sometimes it'll be this way. It seems like most of the time it's the other way, but sometimes if things are rolling good and you got your cash flow cranking, you'll have this situation. So the bills we have to pay now, and these are pretty important, our regular bills, insurance and such as that, but we're going to kind of take a special look at our vehicle. We got a $12,000 loan, $12,500 that's costing us $310 a month plus $68 in interest. And we got our taxes to pay and our payroll and other things. But also, I've got a startup loan. Me and you borrowed money to get our business started, and I still owe $14,900 on that. And that daggone loan is costing me $500 a month and $75 interest. And I just hate to be in debt and hate to make those payments. But I got another stock order coming in at $5,000. So that's kind of our situation now. Now, we got resources, a business checking account, $28,500. Our reserve bank account is down to $5,500. We must have used quite a bit of that this past month to pay those old bills. Maybe that's where we found the money to use it, which is what I recommended. And our business credit funds are good. Our old stock inventory, look at there, it's 0. So we took David's advice and sold that old inventory out. And we sold that old vehicle. We must have had 2 spares. We sold it out, and they're down to 0. And that's probably why we got the extra money in the bank right now. Our personal reserve accounts are at $20K. Credit cards available, $10K. Insurance policy value, $7K. And Aunt Mabel's still there with $20,000. My question to you is now, after you paid the bills that were due, how would you invest or pay off with the extra money? What would you do with the extra money above that $28,700? So we're paying out $11,800, right? And we've got $28,750. So we got approximately $17,000 that we can do things with. You want to go to Las Vegas and gamble it? Yes or no? Let's just get a ticket and go to Las Vegas. What do y'all think? A lot of entrepreneurs do that. That's fun. Feels good at the time, right? Yeah, you're right. No is the correct answer. So what are we going to do with that $11,000? Okay. Chandra says, leave it alone. You may have a rough month. Well, that's good thinking. That's steady thinking. What else do y'all think? Where would you use it? Leave it alone is right, but where would you put it if you leave it alone? Would you just send it to Aunt Mabel because you love her, or do something else with it? Check the inventory and stock up. Well, that's true, but we've already said we got the stock order coming in and we paid that. Wholesale, that's interesting. Give me some more answers here. How would you use that money? Put it in a savings account. Now, that's what I was kind of looking at. Which savings account would you use? Which way? Save it. Make sure we put that tax money aside. That's exactly right, Monique. Put it in a higher yield savings, whichever way we could get the most return on that money. These are good answers, and I appreciate you thinking about it. And I sincerely hope that me and you have to deal with this type of cash flow problem. And it is a problem. And you know what? Each month you may have a negative one month and a positive the next. Business cycles are very fickle. Here's what I want to say to you. If it were me and we were holding our board meeting here, I would suggest that we take that $11,000 and first of all rebuild our reserve account balance. That line number 2 that's at $5,000 now, I'd really think we should just put it right in there. Because it's there, it's handy, we can get to it quickly. But I personally would not spend it. I would put it in the bank. However, I'll have a lot of people, based on what I said earlier in the class, is I'd take a look now, let's get back here. I'd take a strong look at that vehicle debt I've got. I've got a vehicle that I owe $12,500 on that's costing me interest and payment $378 a month, and I really hate paying that money out. So what do you think about, let's pay that loan off. Yes or no, if y'all are on the board with me, how would you vote? We got enough money to pay that down and almost pay it off. Yes or no, we pay off that car loan? What do you think, David? Sarita, you want to pay it off?
I would hold off.
So you keep it in savings? Now, Christina says, yes, pay that sucker off. All right, thank you, Christina. Anyone else? Maybe pay off a third of it. Now, that's interesting. Pay some down on it, but let's not use it all. So, Sandra is suggesting that we put some in savings and maybe pay that down a little bit. No, just a percentage of it. Monique's going to keep some of it. Well, here's my thinking. I said earlier, do not use short-term cash flow to pay off long-term debts. That is a rule. That's Steve's rule. You bought that vehicle knowing it was going to cost you $370 a month, and you didn't make that decision until you figured out it was going to pay for itself, provide enough income to help make that payment. I suggest to you, do not pay it off. I suggest to you to go back and put that money in your company reserve account, interest-bearing reserve account. Now, how about the startup loan, though? That startup loan is not making you money. It's not making you money, and you owe $14,900 on it. You can knock a chunk out of that. Would you pay that off? Would you pay some extra on it, maybe? Pay it down a little bit? Or would you just keep making the payments? What would you think about that? Give me a yes or no on paying it off. Yes or no on paying off that startup money loan. Come on, don't let your fingers get tired on me now. Yes or no? Pay it off. No. I got a no coming in. Pay part of it from David. Thank you for answering. I appreciate y'all typing this stuff in. Thank you so much. Well, my suggestion is no. Your business is new. You got a fairly small amount of reserves. Just because you got a little bit of surplus this month, don't squander it. We go back to what I said earlier. Do not pay off long-term debt with short-term cash flow. Short-term cash flow is fickle, it's liquid, it's difficult to hold on to. So put that extra money in your reserve account. Pay your long-term debt as you plan to do it in your business plan. Your business plan knew you had that startup loan, and you've accounted for it in making the money. So here's the exceptions. If you've had a whole year of pouring money into your reserve account and you've built up a pretty sizable amount, I mean, an amount equal to your normal monthly bills, so to speak, or 2 months' bills, then you might start applying some money on paying some loan loss, or you might consider buying some items that will help you make more money, add more profit centers, invest money that will help you make more money in the future. But on the first month that you've got a surplus, don't start figuring out ways that you can pay things off. That is a bad habit that will really hurt you in the long term. You keep a good reserve amount, and it gives you stability and sustainability in your business. And at the end of the year, when the accountant looks at how much cash you got on hand, it'll be a big plus to you. And the more cash you got on hand, let me assure you, means the more money you can loan or borrow if you really need it. So just keep that in mind. Thank you for your participation. I hope you enjoyed it and it was fun to do that. So let's see what we're asked here. How much will the total be with interest when paid off? How long is the loan? Those are factors that will play in. You're exactly right, Chandra. There's always extra consideration, and we need to dig into it. That might change our mind or help us decide how much or how little to pay on it. You're exactly right. So let's define what is positive cash flow and what is negative cash flow. I want to tell you it's different than what this is in the book, in my opinion, and here's the way I see it. I think it is so important that when a customer enters your space, your website, your environment, and they've got money to spend, and you let them leave before you get it, that's negative cash flow. When they come in with money to spend, that's positive cash flow opportunity. But when they leave, it's pure negative cash flow. You have to be that creature, that predator thinking about cash flow. It is that important. And in our entrepreneurship DNA, we're always thinking about how to improve cash flow. If we're up to a point where we're thinking about taking an offer, someone makes us an offer, and there's profit there for us, but it's not nearly as much as we really had hoped for, but it is enough to pay off the debt and create a little cash flow for us. Maybe it's not the margin we were after. My gut tells me to take it. But first, my gut tells me to negotiate and see if I can get a little bit more. Always try to negotiate to improve your situation. But when you have an opportunity to create positive cash flow in your business, take it. And that's one reason where take it or leave it gets in the way. If you've got your big profit margin built into a take it or leave it price tag, and someone wants to negotiate, but you say, no, I'm not going to do that, then you're setting yourself up for negative cash flow. That's the way it runs, and that's the way that it is. I hope you've enjoyed this program, and would love to hear some comments or questions and such as that. Our series each time in this 5-part series, I'm going to have some questions and answers and do things for you. So if you have any questions now or would like to put them in chat, we'll try to answer the chat stuff tomorrow. But I'd like to hear from you tonight and tell you how much I appreciate you being with us and wish you a very wonderful, warm weekend, and look forward to seeing you after Thanksgiving. God bless you all and bless your families and your business. Thank you so much. You're welcome to turn your mics on and tell me what you think or ask questions.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, David. I hope you can stay warm this weekend.
I want to try.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Monique. It's mighty good to have you back, and hope you enjoyed the program. We'll see you next time. All right. Well, good luck to you. God bless you. Have a great weekend, and I'll look forward to sending you emails with the study guides and more information about our next classes. Thank you so much.